Okay.
Dang, this thing is like, okay.
Okay.
Powerful. You
Yeah.
hear me like breathing on this thing.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
So,
All right.
I'm gonna give you a small intro.
Okay. Are we live?
No, we're not live
All right,
yet.
there you go.
I'm gonna give you a small intro, and then we'll get started.
All right, let's go.
And usually, I'm just gonna like preface usually like the first like 15 minutes are like I'll feel a little awkward and forced, but then the conversation gets going and you forget that you're like podcasting.
Cool.
Just
Let's do it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to This Human Thing, a podcast on the human experience. This is episode 9 of the podcast. And today I have on a guest. Do you like to go by Anatoly or just Toly?
We can just go by Toly.
Okay, this is Toly. And I met him maybe like a week or two ago, right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and he is just exploring life right now. He's just roaming around, doing his thing, living it up, creating, absorbing all of the good things. And right now in California, we are going through a devastating heat wave. This is the hottest it's ever been. We went through a heat wave a few weeks ago, which was horrible. But now this is we're in the 90s now.
It's lovely. Yeah.
Lovely. We're going to be sweating through this episode, guys. Just sweating. Awesome. So I honestly don't know much about you, so it's going to be nice to get to know each other a little bit through the podcast, which is nice because the people who are listening will get to know you as well at the same rate that I'm getting to know you. Is there anything that you want to share about yourself? Just some main pointers, what's your resume points?
My resume points. My resume points. What a question, I suppose. Well, I'm a photographer.
Yes.
I've been practicing photography since the early years of high school. I've only just recently decided to go pro with it. So I'm just out here. I'm trying to catch some adventures and get it on film. I'm exploring the world of videography as well, cinematography and film, which has been exciting. But prior to all that, I just kind of bounced around with different jobs. I've worked in plenty of restaurants and done manual labor gigs and worked at an architecture firm before the pandemic hit. So, yeah, now we're here. That's pretty much it.
Now we're here. And so how we met was at the restaurant that I'm working at. And I dropped I had I don't know, maybe 15 or 16 glasses on this tray, and one fell over, and then it hit the next one. And before you know it, this was 1 hour into my shift, and before you know it, I'm just covered in every kind of liquid known to mankind. I felt so sticky the whole rest of my shift because I'm sure I had maple syrup, all these sauces, aioli, beer,
it was
everything.
Nice, yeah, that was a nice little that was a nice drop right there. But I gotta say, you gotta give yourself credit on the save, because it was gonna go down even more and harder, and then somehow you kind of threw it back on that table and you saved the rest of it. But I had just been in the restaurant. That's the OB Surf Lodge.
Yes.
For all you guys out there who don't know, it's a great place.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Get a good ocean view.
It's beautiful.
Sunset every night.
Every night.
Yeah. Breakfast all day.
Breakfast all day. Yeah, so I was just hanging out there. You guys have great Wi-Fi too. So I had been hanging out, just having a little coffee, working on some things, and that's when I witnessed.
That's when you witnessed
the event.
Conundrum.
Yeah, but what surprised me the most was how, and what day was this? Was this a weekend? I'm trying to remember. Maybe it was
I don't know.
It was busy.
It was a week or two ago. It was really busy.
It was super busy. There had to be at least 30 people sitting out there. And me, from I guess my past experiences working in restaurants, you drop things all the time. It's almost inevitable. Some people drop things more than others, but you always know when you're in a sticky situation,
literally
like that. It's one of the worst feelings ever. I mean, you feel the spotlight's on you, and when no one like comes to like your aid or something like that, like it just feels like you're on an island, and it feels like it's the most awful feeling ever. Thankfully in the past I've always had like just like good people to work with, and they've always come to my aid like right away. But I felt like for your situation, you were on that island. You were on that island for a good like 10 or 15 seconds, and everybody around had just been like, everyone had just like looked over. Maybe somebody like exclaimed or like, you know, kind of like said like, ooh. And then everyone just went back to their business and back to their conversations and not caring. So I was like, yo, I've been there. I'll go help. That's pretty much that.
And when you were over there, I think that you just kind of reacted to the situation. You're like, I'm going to come help. And then you were there and you're like, wait, what do I actually do in this situation?
Well, by the time I came over, I was like, yeah, actually, you know, it's not too bad. Yeah, you saved most of it. Probably like lost like a glass or two. That was it. But you saved the other like 12 glasses you had there. Yeah.
There we go.
Good
That's
job.
what counts.
Well
Those
done.
are those instincts kicking in, because it was all a blur for me. Happened many times.
Don't
after
eat popcorn before your shift, y'all. Don't do it.
Yeah, so he told me that joke and I did not understand. I was like, what do you mean don't eat popcorn? Because I didn't understand the Butterfingers. And I was like, huh? I didn't get it.
That's all right.
It's all right. Okay, so last night when I was working, there was ash like flying everywhere, and some man like brought it up because he was sitting at the patio, and he's like, where's this coming from? And I just thought that like, because there's always a bunch of
Yellowstone?
Yellowstone.
Yeah, was it the volcano? Oh no, it hasn't gone off yet, has it?
I don't know. Literally nothing would surprise me at this point. No, but I just thought that it was like the bonfires across the street, because like at the beach people are doing bonfires all the time. And so I thought the ash was just carrying over. But then apparently like 20 miles inland, there's just raging forest fires happening right now. And so we were just getting ashed on like all last night. They're
I had
really
no idea
bad.
it was that close.
Yeah, it was like 140 acres. It's still going on right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was that close.
Here, I'll show you this video. So
yeah.
One of my yoga teachers lives out there. I'm not so familiar with like California, because I've only lived here like a year, but it's like the valley and the mountains like 20 miles inland from here. It's like in the country. And yeah, so I last night just heard that these fires were going on, and then I saw that one of my yoga teachers, she lives out there, and she posted this video.
For you guys who can't see, it looks pretty gnarly. The hills are literally on fire.
I'll post it on the video that's on YouTube.
That's incredible. That's I
her.
mean, like
She's
in the worst way.
Surrounded.
That's insane. How is she just like hanging out there? She's not worried.
I mean,
it's like this is a California thing. We're used to it.
She's kind of like one with the universe, but she was obviously terrified.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally surrounding her entire environment.
And I'm not someone who watches the news very often, but this morning I like watched like this like 5-minute clip of, you know, what was going on out there, and it's so gnarly. It's still going. It's really bad. Like people's houses have literally like burnt to the ground. Like there's nothing left. Everyone had to evacuate. I was talking to someone who said that San Diego has like been evacuated once, like coastal. And that's so crazy to think that the fires would even get out here, because it's like it gets like pretty humid out here near the water. But I don't know. Anything could happen. The world is ending.
It's the West Coast. Well, yeah, that's craziness. I remember, was it last year or 2 years ago? I guess they had all those fires, and a ton of celebrities had lost their houses in LA.
Yeah.
So yeah, doesn't matter who you are, it's coming for you if you're in the way.
Yeah.
That's nature, I guess.
Wow.
Scariness.
And what's also like pretty crazy is I saw something the other day that was talking about how, as part of their like rituals, whether that be spiritual or just in terms of keeping their land, the Native Americans who lived in this area would perform controlled burns of the forests, and the U.S. banned them like years and years ago, and they have just been reevaluating that ban. And yeah, obviously like fires need to go through burnings. That's like part of the process. And when we don't let that happen, or when we are like super, I don't know, like trying to control nature, then that's how these super gnarly burns start happening, like the ones that are out of control. So just kind of like goes to show how our interference with nature is just gonna continue to backfire. And like we see that with global warming, we see that with these fires, we see that with
there's only so much you can really bottle up, it seems like, you know, and then eventually it all comes spilling out. So yeah, I mean, a controlled burn, I mean, if that's what's necessary to sort of mitigate it, keep it at bay for a little while, I guess either way it'll eventually kind of get out of hand, especially with global warming and things like that happening. But it just feels like maybe they were onto something, those Native Americans. Yeah, maybe definitely. they had it figured out. They've been doing it for quite a while, so maybe we should take some notes.
Like us in the West, like we're just so like in our minds and in our like human tunnel vision of like, I don't know, a controlled and contained way of living. And like the Native Americans and so many other cultures who are like, their roots are so deep within like earth and like what actually is happening, not just what they've created. And like we've really, really lost touch with that. And I think that, and although there's been so much incredible innovation that's happened, like, you know, electronics and stuff like that and education, but we have really like sacrificed so much of like that connection to like life. Absolutely. Really.
Yeah. I just want my same day Amazon packages now.
Are they lying to you? Is it not same day?
I don't know. Do they do same day?
I think so sometimes, or like one day.
Really?
I don't know.
I'm so used to the one day. If I don't get it by the next day,
you're gonna complain.
See,
these like modern day conveniences.
Yeah, totally. They're making us way too comfortable with it.
Thumb over us, ready to squash us. Saying, "Haha, you poor people."
Oh man. So what's going on? What's like the is it gonna get closer to the coast? Do we have to run into the water at some point, or what's happening?
But I went to O'Reilly's today to get some oil for my car, and then I realized that I had oil in my back seat, so I didn't even need to go in the first place. But I went there and I was like, are they open? I go inside and like everyone's just like chilling in the dark, and I'm like, your lights are out. And they're like, yeah, our power's out. And I was like, oh, why? And apparently the fires have been like messing with the power grid. And so like if you go, so like we're like in OB Point Loma right now. And if you go like inland a little bit more, there's like a bunch of like shopping centers over there. Like half of those just don't have power right now.
Oh, like Fashion Valley?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's like near where like the naval base is over there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's like it's pretty much just like a bunch of like stores.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like literally like just blocks are out of power over there because of the fires. And I thought, so they've been doing like power outages because of the heat wave, because like the power grid can't support everyone just like cranking their AC all at once. Those of us who are lucky enough to have AC. But I thought it was because of that. I thought
we're not one of those lucky ones, by the way.
No, we are not. But like 95% of the time, I just don't need AC. It's like completely nice.
That's not me.
That's
not my words.
I also don't get hot super easily. Like I'm a pretty like cold person, so you know.
Do you prefer like the summer or the winter?
I am a summer person.
Summer person?
Right. I really like the spring. I honestly don't know. I can't pick one. I would say summer though.
Summer. The heat.
But I like light, like the beginning of summer and the end of summer. Like when the seasons are changing. I like that.
Right on.
Right on.
That's like right about now.
It is. Apparently we don't really get like any change of temperature in San Diego until like late October though. Like it pretty much stays summer until late October.
And then I hear the surf picks up around here, which is going to be pretty cool.
That it does.
Real avid surfers get after it.
Yep.
Swell picks up. It should be nice.
Yeah. Water's getting frigid. Oh yeah, you're gonna like get out there and take a bunch of.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Wake up with some surfers.
Yeah. What is your favorite thing to shoot?
Oh man, that's a good question. That's something that I've always been kind of asking myself of recent. Just because there's so much. I mean, there's so much to shoot, right? Like just like life, there's so much to like take part in. But you just don't have enough time in a week or hours in a day to kind of get after all of it. So you really just have to kind of focus on a few I'd say, just kind of playing off my background, I like to shoot sport, sort of like active things. Obviously I love to shoot landscapes. And I suppose like a new thing that I'm getting into is more so getting after like wildlife and marine wildlife. So yeah, those would be the 3 for now. We'll see how that fares. Yeah.
So is a big part of it, like, do you like having human subjects even when you're shooting landscape?
Every now and then, yeah. Sometimes I just wish like all the people just get the hell out of my frame. But yeah, there are ways to go around that. But I definitely like working with a subject, and then also being able to kind of like paint or portray just kind of like a little bit of a story with that individual. I like to work with people. There's no doubt. I like to good people, you know.
Preferably.
Preferably. And yeah, just kind of working with them. People are just, you know, they're so different. We're all so different. So it's very interesting to kind of step into the world of somebody who's like, you know, like everything they love to do is fishing. They just love fishing. They're in this little phase of their life where they're just all about fishing, and just the way the currents work and the fish work and the way the dolphins help them catch these fish out there sometimes. Or maybe you got like a surfer, and they're in their that's their entire world. Every morning they're out there. Every evening they're out there, just waiting, just patiently waiting for that set to come by. So yeah, there's just a lot to explore. I guess just being around the shores right now has been very exciting because there's a lot of sport. There's a lot of activities that go on right there, right on the coast, like a lot more than I imagined. There was a girl just like hanging on the beach. She wasn't spinning fire, but she was spinning some type of like tapestry material, and she was just dancing, sort of like in the wind, and it was just very dope.
And the ability to capture little moments like that is just like, that's my favorite thing about film and photography is just, and I know that sounds so cliche, but you know, we can, as a human, we can never really like capture a moment. Like we try to with like words and things like that, and like with our minds, but a camera does such a good job of capturing the moment. And you know, like you can look at a picture and different people are going to draw so many different things from that one picture, just depending on who you are. And I was kind of wondering, in your experience, how photography has, I don't know, kind of been like a metaphor for your life. Because obviously it's something that you really enjoy doing as like your craft, as your creative, artistic thing. And as your way to kind of like connect to life in that way, to connect to other people and their stories. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of metaphors that you can draw with photography. And I don't know, is there anything like deep anyway?
Oh man,
yeah,
I don't know, that's a good question. Yeah, in my humble opinion, I'd like to say that I'm still very much learning, so there's a lot that I'm taking in. Like I'm still on YouTube every night trying to figure out like what is the best way to frame, what is the best way to kind of tell the story. And once you realize like the whole, like once you begin uncovering like the video and the film aspect to it, they sort of like work like hand in hand. They're entirely different. Photography and cinema, totally different, but they also kind of like hold hands or whatever, like a little bit, right? Like they share similarities. So I don't know. Very interesting. What was the question again?
Some ways. No, you're totally good. I was going on forever. It wasn't even a question at that point. I was just wondering if there's any ways that photography has kind of lended itself as a metaphor for life, or for your life, or ways that you've been able to translate like your human experience to this like skill of photography that you practice.
Well, for one, it's something that's it's more of like a legacy thing. I guess like my grandfather would take some pictures and my dad really got into it, and then he taught me how to do it. So it all began there. And then I guess like personally for me, what I love most about it is just how, like when you're taking pictures and when you're in there in the moment, you're trying to do your subject justice, trying to get the best angle, or, you know, trying to like really work for it. Maybe, you know, just waiting for the light to hit. You can get just like caught up in this workflow. So like time doesn't feel like it exists even. And then afterwards, later, when you're reviewing these images, I love just how like you can just freeze the moment. I mean, that's cliche as hell, but like that's exactly it. It's like you just freeze that moment, and yeah, it'll be around. It'll be around for a little while, and hopefully it's a good one. Like well, I guess good or bad. You know, like that's what photography is. It's meant to be shared. It's meant to highlight and perhaps spotlight different things going on. So yeah, it's a very broad field, right? I mean, there are war photographers, and I feel like those are some of the gnarliest people, just ever to put themselves out there, armed with nothing but a camera. For a little while, I actually kind of want to be like a combat photographer, but I think I'm happy with where I am right now. Yeah, for now at least.
That's kind of where I am. Like what I want to do with this podcast is just to share stories and like capture, you know, it's not necessarily a moment, but it's like an hour or two of this other person's story. And so other people can get just a glimpse of them and like a little peek into their life. Just as with photography, it's like you're getting a little peek into that other person's story.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like for me,
yeah.
That's like the most fascinating thing about life is just the different ways that different people walk through it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, very similar to like the journey that I'm going on right now with work. Whereas, like, just last week when I was in Vegas, I went to go shoot in Red Rock Canyon with Kaylin Cadness Neal. Y'all, everybody go check her out. She's an MMA fighter, working her way up the ranks to get into the UFC. But, yeah, just kind of like just working with somebody. I mean, she's incredibly humble. But at the same time can be very intense, right? I mean, once she gets into that flow of training, when she's throwing her bows and throwing her kicks out and all that stuff, I mean, it's like she's, you know, you become like a totally kind of a little bit of a different person. So getting to know her a bit before the shoot and then going through the shoot and having her go through some shadow boxing, have her kind of like paint a picture of, all right, imagine yourself, you're about to get into that ring, the octagon, and just seeing what they're like in their element is very cool. So yeah, I love that about photography too. So working with like many different types of people, it's a little bit similar to like what you're doing. Very cool stuff. Yeah, I do dig that as well. Yeah.
We dig it. Yeah, and that's another thing that is just always catches me off guard and is just so beautiful, like when you're seeing people in their element. So like, I don't know, like my friend Lojo, like when she's skiing and just seeing her ski, and again, she's so humble about it, she never talks about herself being a really good skier, like blah blah blah, but then when I'm out on the mountain with her and I'm just seeing her just in her element, it's just so beautiful. And like I see that with a lot of different people, just when people are doing what they love, like this whole, like they're just literally glowing. Again, it sounds so cliche, but it's just such a cool thing to witness. And I wish that we got to witness more people just doing what they love more of the time.
Yeah.
And kind of using that honestly to like segue into like, you're just out here van lifing.
I'm van lifing. That's right. I'm mini van lifing actually.
Yeah. So not quite the van life yet.
Not quite. Next step. That'll be it. Yep. Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, I've been doing that for almost 2 months now. Well, actually, no. I just bought my van just a little more than a month ago. Yeah. Prior to that, I was living out of a rented Toyota Tacoma, which is not as comfortable, I'm saying. Is
that like a SUV?
It is it's a small compact SUV.
Okay.
Not quite as spacious as a minivan, but the minivan is not quite as spacious as like an RV either. Maybe that'll be like the ultimate goal.
Next you'll get a semi truck.
Yeah, right. I'll just pimp out the whole bed. I think ultimately I'd love to get on a sailboat, but the minivan thing right now is it still like throws me off guard every time I wake up every morning and I'm just staring at the ceiling of this van. I'm like, wow.
I live in this.
What am I doing? This is it right here. This is what I'm doing. I've discarded all the other comforts of life. And now I gotta, now it's a little more of like a hustle. It's a little more of a grind.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's very freeing. And and it feels good. It feels great. Yeah. But I don't know if it's for everybody. I've talked to a lot of my friends, and a lot of them are like, dude, you're insane. You're crazy. But then again, like, we come from a little bit of that East Coast mentality.
DMV,
we don't meet
baby.
a lot of people. What?
It's a DMV, baby.
DMV. So we don't meet like a ton of people doing that type of thing, right? Like, have you ever met anybody living out of a van on the East Coast? Like,
No.
voluntarily?
No, it's I think it would be very frowned upon if
Yeah, I'd be like, huh? What are you doing?
everyone's doing it
What's
out
up?
here.
Yeah, and then out here, you just pull up to a parking lot and, like, just,
There's more vans than
at
cars.
night. Right. And then, yeah, it's just like a whole community out there. And it's very interesting to see how many people have different setups. It's like almost every van is like an entirely different type of abode. And it's just kind of funny. They all have like their little personalities and stuff too. Yeah. I like being a little more agile. So I went with a Honda Odyssey. Yeah. 2005. Power steering. I've got power windows. All I wanted was a sunroof. I just told the dealer, I was like, all right, man, I want that one with the sunroof. I didn't even test drive it. I didn't even do the checklist on things you need to check out for when you're buying a van, which, guys, there are resources online. There's a checklist on there that you can probably download and print out. Do that checklist before you buy a car. Yeah.
So what have been the worst things about doing minivan life?
The worst things.
And what are the best things? Give me your pros and cons.
Oh, boy. Well, one, the maintenance and the repairs. If you're going to go, I'm sort of like, the goal for me coming out here was, all right, here, let me just stick to a small budget. Let me see how much I can maximize this budget. And then let's see how we can just kind of like progress. And then as the budget increases, then we'll go ahead, we'll push the limits a little bit. We'll spend a little more money for comforts and things like that. But obviously with a minivan, you're not going to have a kitchenette. You're not going to have like a little hose attachment for showers, like off the side of it. You're not going to have a tremendous amount of space in there. So those would be some of the cons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just kind of, so hanging around the shore, just running. I mean, I had to get myself like a 2-gallon sprayer from Home Depot and turn that into like a makeshift shower situation. So I'm still not all the way adjusted to that. Showering just.
Do you ever use the showers at the beach?
Oh yeah. I love the beach. So like every morning I'll go for like a stretch or like a little workout or like a run on the beach, and then I'll jump right into that cold water. And it's freezing cold today, but I'll do that and then I'll rinse off or take a shower there too. But it's always really funny. I feel like I get a lot of eyes with people when I bust out the shampoo. Biodegradable, by the way. And I'm just like, lathering all my hair and my body, and then yeah. But it's the West Coast. It's like every other person's almost like living out of a van.
Oh, almost. Yeah, especially in OB.
Especially in OB. Yeah.
Like the past couple weeks, this is like when I started working again. I wasn't working for like about 3 months, a little bit more. Honestly, probably like 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I, like I've said this before, like I've just worked since I was like 13. So I've just like never known life without having a job.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so to not have a job those 4 months was just so nice. Like the freedom of time to actually do what I want to do, again, as cliche as it sounds. And then going back to work and just having like my energy and time ripped for me just so I'm able to like pay my rent is just like so sad.
Well, do you desire to be like a professional server or waitress?
No, I'm literally just doing it to like pay money. And because like serving is like, it's nice because it's a good workout.
Yeah.
You're not like thinking about it when you're not there. So like when you're off, you're done. It's like pretty good money. And the hours are very flexible. It's very easy to get people to cover your shift. If you want like a month off, it's like not a problem. And so that's me. Like as soon as we're able to travel again, like I've been like itching to go travel. Like it's been getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And like there's like this part of me that's like really scared of commitment. So I recently got a kitty. And I had this moment where I was laying in bed right now, like one night, and I was just like, oh my God, what did I just do? I was like, I have a cat. I can't, what? No. And I got it from my neighbor, and I ended up texting her, and I was like, hey, and we had kind of, I didn't like promise I was taking him. We were just kind of trying it out, like seeing how it went. And I texted her, I'm like, hi, I'm sorry. I just like, don't think that this is going to work out. Like, I want to give him the home he deserves. And a couple weeks later, I still have him. But yeah, even just something like that, where like, I don't want the commitment. Like, I was like, if I'm going to have him for like 20 years, I'm like, what if I just want to go like live in like Kuwait? No, I don't think I'd want to live in Kuwait. I don't know why that's what popped in my mind. Like, what if I just want to like go like live in like India for a couple years? And I have a freaking cat.
You gotta get him a passport. You gotta make sure he's all vaccinated up.
I'm not gonna bring him with me. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah. So honestly,
gotta put a little leash on him.
So anyway, and then just it's the same thing with like going and getting a corporate job. I'm like, I don't want to be committed to it, because like, what if I just want to move? What if I just want to go travel for a while? Like, I wouldn't be able to. I'm like very locked into that schedule. And I know there's definitely exceptions with different jobs, but for the most part, that's the picture that's painted. And originally, like, I was planning on going to grad school when I graduated. And then it was just like a gut feeling where I was just like, I'm not going to go to grad school. And I could go to grad school, I guess, like whenever I wanted. But again, it's that like getting locked into something and feeling trapped in it. And even like right now, like feeling trapped in even just like waitressing. Because I'm just like, I really miss that free time. I feel like my creativity has been so stunted because my time is like so constrained. So I feel like in my free time, I'm, doing all the things that I have to do to like survive essentially. And I'm really missing like the time that I had to like connect with life on like a deeper level.
Right. Your focus has been diverted just a bit.
And I feel like that's how most people live. I keep playing with this. He brought these these little things to strengthen your fingers for rock climbing, and I've been doing it
the whole time. I'm getting stronger. I can feel it.
I'm getting so distracted by it. I need to put it somewhere else.
That one's a harder one. That one's super hard. I can't even open that one. That's just like the medium level. Yeah. I mean, the commitment. I guess there are just so many different types of people, right? Like so many people are like just geared towards that. They're geared towards having something safe, having something secure, just knowing that you're going to get that paycheck. You know exactly how much it is. You can budget for that. You know exactly how much you can save off of that. You can fall into this comfortable routine, and that's totally fine. That's totally the life for a lot of people, right? I've always never really wanted to do like a desk job. I've never really wanted to work in that corporate setting either, like just like own my little cubicle and then slowly move up the ranks and move up the floors and get my corner office. I'm like, yeah, corner office would be sick, sure, but like, how long does it take to get there?
But I don't think it would be great for me. Just
then
for
you're
me.
Tied in for working for the man, and like, hey, it's just not for me. I always kind of had like a little bit of like an entrepreneurial mindset, so when I had the opportunity to just like to come out here and start something totally new and finally get after like, I guess my dream, and the passion, then I just jumped on it. But I feel like us as humans, just like through the history of the world, we've always just been travelers, like, and even for that person who does like that security, and maybe like sometimes like some people just, I mean, there's so many people that just go to work and they don't want to be there. But they have to, right? They have a family to feed. They've got these bills to pay. So it's just like a means to an end for them. So that's why you just have so many people in this country that don't have that job satisfaction. And they continue to lead these, like this ruthless, endless cycle. It's not ruthless. Yeah. Let's not be over dramatic.
It feels ruthless sometimes.
But it could be, yeah, it could be. Unless you're totally passionate about what it is. Like I'm sure there's a waitress out there who's trying to go pro and just be a waitress forever, and they love it. But that's just not you.
That's just not me. And like with anything, it's like not so much like what you're doing, it's how you do it that gives you satisfaction. But I don't know, I'm lacking that a little bit right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So
you're an artist, that's why. You gotta be out there. You gotta Yeah, exactly. You want to create, you want to kind of contribute in other types of ways. I've done the serving thing before, and I love providing good service, of course, but at the same time, it can be a little bit of a drain. I mean, you have to find yourself in a good situation with a good company, with good management, good leadership at the top, who can sort of like resonate that down and set the standard to everybody below. I mean, if you come in there, if you go to like a company that's selfish and greedy, everybody feels that, and then everybody gets a little lazier at the bottom, and everyone just gets like, it just creates drama and like all this nonsense. I mean, OBSL, the Surf Lodge, seems like a nice, chill, happy place to work. Everyone seems to have a good time. I mean, you guys have a sunset every single night right there. You can't really beat that as far as work goes. But yeah, it's a grind, and the restaurants are tough. I mean, people want that. They want their water just like they want, whatever, just however they want it.
Yeah, it's just honestly,
people are so needy.
Like, I was interviewing my friend Taylor last episode, and we were just talking about like the level of exhaustion that we hit sometimes with waitressing. But anyway, I was talking.
It's a temporary thing, right? Until you can like kind of find another.
But I was like journaling the other day, and it sounds kind of cheesy, but I was like, I feel like I'm just like putting my dreams on hold by waitressing, when the reason that I wanted to waitress as opposed to taking a corporate job was so that I would have the free time to continue to pursue my dreams on the side. But I feel like my dreams have taken like such a hold because I've been working so much. And this week, I think things are settling down. This week, I'm not working as many hours. I think I'll have a lot of more free time. But yeah, that's like so sad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's but thankfully we've got a lot of time. We've got a lot of time to straighten it out, figure it all out.
Yeah. I have my whole life to figure it out.
Grind it
and
away.
Maybe not even then.
Yeah, leave it in the dust eventually, and then continue moving on.
My friend, I was hanging out with him yesterday. We went cliff diving.
I saw that.
You did?
Yeah.
Doesn't that look fun?
That was
cops
cool.
Showed up, so we stopped.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
I've been there before, and the lifeguards have showed up, and
but he said this quote, which was something to the ends of like, most people like spend their whole lives like working a job they hate, to get like a house and a car they can't afford, to marry someone they don't love, to have children that they like can't connect to, like something like that. And like, it's just so stupid.
Yeah. Like,
why? Like, we just get caught in this trap so easily, and it's one of those things that's often joked about so much, but like why do we joke about that? Like, that's so sad. Like, you're just like wasting your entire life pretty much. And like that like hit me pretty hard yesterday, not in the moment, but just reflecting on it later, because that's something that I've heard so many times. But sometimes things just like hit you depending on your circumstances, and I was just like, oh, like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
like,
it's a bit Fight Clubby. It's like, man, like, what is this mundane existence we're doing? Yeah,
I just feel like it's like Groundhog Day. Like, every day I'm like, oh my God, I have to do this to like survive. And that's why something like doing van life is so attractive, because I'm like, oh, well, I don't really need to like work so hard to pay for rent. And yeah, like I give up some of these luxuries, some of these conveniences, but guess what's not convenient or luxurious is like not being able to do what you love. And for me, like, I would sacrifice anything to be able to do what I love.
Yeah. And you don't have a family, so it's not like
I don't have
like
any kids
entirely like tethered. You've got the kitten. Yeah, you got to make sure he
I do
eats.
have a kitten.
So, but yeah, so you just have just the 2 mouths to feed once you kind of hit the road, and then that's pretty much it. So I just pretty much just bought my van outright, and it's a 15-year-old van, and it was on the cheaper end, so I was able to do that. But I guess it just I was talking to my mom the other day, and I'm like, just don't worry, everything will be fine. All I gotta do is just buy food and gas, and that's pretty much it. And then like I paid for rent for indefinitely, and yeah, I gotta get out of San Diego at some point, but yeah.
Where are you trying to go once you leave?
That's a really good question. I'm so torn between either going straight north or south. I really want to go down to Baja California. I was in Mexico a couple times a few weeks ago, and it's just totally different down there. It's almost lawless. So it's a little, it's definitely it's a whole different vibe, but at the same time, the Mexican people are really They're awesome. They're beautiful, and they can be like very friendly and inviting. At the same time, you got a lot of cartel activity down there in Tijuana,
Mm-hmm.
so you got to be careful.
Yeah.
I try to run through there as quick as I can and get down to Rosarito, but you can continue going down like south, and you can swim with the whale sharks down there in the Gulf.
Wow.
And do tons of other little things. So a lot of the van lifers, I see them making little YouTube vids about heading down there, and you've got just these like beautiful white sands. So there's just like a lot of like really, really awesome things to do down there. But at the same time, I really want to go north too. So we'll see. I haven't really thought about it.
Where
too much
north,
yet.
like Northern California, Oregon, Washington, Canada, the Arctic?
I don't know if I want to go like that far just yet, or maybe if I do, hopefully I can get to like Canada. Maybe not Canada, but like just Washington State around next summer.
Yeah.
So it's not something I just like snowed in wherever I go or freeze up in the middle of the night. But yeah, I've got to plan it out. I mean, I definitely want to hit. I want to hit all the like the national parks. I've never been to any of them, like Yosemite, Yellowstone. Just kind of like the redwood forest, and there's so much to see. And there's just too much to see. There's so much to see.
That's what sucks about life, but it's also cool. It's like you can never see everything.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing for me. I'm like, I just want to see everything. I just want to do everything.
Yeah.
And that kind of reminds me of like what you were talking about earlier of when you're catching people like doing what they love, like those surfers who like, I mean, obviously they have other aspects to them, but like that is what they love, like surfing. Their whole life is surfing, or their whole life is fishing, or their whole life is fighting, whatever it is. I feel like for me, like I just like everything. So I don't feel like my whole life is a couple things. Like I feel like very like scattered almost sometimes. But I also just think that's kind of like how people are when they're like super creative, is they're like so focused on one thing for like a couple weeks, and then they're so focused on another thing. And sometimes I'm like, oh geez, like I'm so like unstable, but then other times I'm like, it makes sense though. Like to not have a schedule, to
I'm just like that,
go all in and then it's done, and then you go all in on the next thing.
I've always been sort of like, it just fascinates me about those people who have just like those solo pursuits, and they spend their entire life just getting incredible at that whatever it is.
Mastery.
Yeah, they become masters at it, and it becomes so easy to them, and they still retain that passion for it, and they continue just to kind of like push the limits of that sport or the boundaries. Right, like Alex Honnold, just Alex Honnold, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Everybody else here knows Alex Honnold, right, guys?
Who that?
He's a climber. So he's like a mountain.
Wait, is that like the free solo guy?
Free solo guy.
Okay, yeah, I do know him. Yeah.
So it just goes up there without ropes or anything, and just scales all the mountains, whichever ones he can find. But that's all he wants to do. Like that's his whole existence, and he embraces that, and it's super cool. Because I'm similar to you in that aspect. Like I'll bounce around different things, and I don't want to experience as much as I can. But I guess the reality of that is like I'll never be great. Like I suppose at those pursuits as much as someone who just sticks into it for whatever 20 years or 30 years does. So
it's a sacrifice. It's like, do you want to be really, really good at one thing, or do you want to be like mediocre at lots of things? And I don't I think I want to be mediocre at lots of things.
Yeah, I want to be like very well rounded. I've always like I just remember being like in middle school and just kind of being like, I played a ton of sports growing up and a whole bunch of different ones, and I feel like I was pretty good at them. I did pretty well. I love to compete, so like being in that atmosphere is great. But yeah, just being well rounded. Like kind of just doing everything as best you can versus just doing one thing excellently appeals to me just a bit more as well. Yeah. I wonder how many people I wonder what the ratio is of people like that. I wonder how many people just love to do, like, just seek that. There's like a handful of little things that they like, just like one or two things, versus someone who wants to kind of get a little bit of like all of it. Yeah. Even if it's like for like a brief time, just kind of want to try it all out. Like I've heard going up to Big Bear, I got to go up to Big Bear. Like go up there, get some like sick mountain biking in. They're going to turn it into like a ski resort in the winter, and I love to snowboard too.
Me too.
Yeah, so just hitting the slopes there would be great. But then also, like, I really want to do more marine things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the water is something that just, I mean, it scares the hell out of me. You know, like, just the big ocean, just, it's, you know, you just see all the movies that are out there, and it's deep and it's dark and mysterious, and in a way, like, I want to just kind of like learn to scuba dive. I want to get like better with it. I hope to like work with sharks, or like the shark lab here in San Diego.
There's a shark lab.
There's a shark lab with San Diego State University.
What does that entail?
They tag sharks. They do research on sharks. They try to figure out just like population growth, movements. They collect data and information, and in a way that they hope to create conservation for those animals. So I've gone swimming with sharks twice before, and it was like the scariest thing I've ever done.
Were you in a cage
like,
or just
very dope.
free swimming?
No, just free swimming. This was down in the Bahamas. If you guys go down to Stewart's Cove down there, you can do the snorkeling adventure, and like the third or fourth stop in that snorkeling adventure, they take you to this like deep, dark patch of water where I guess all the sharks just kind of hang out in. And so they just throw out the little inner tube or you know, like the, what is it called? That little life tube? Rescue tube?
Yeah.
Somebody help us out here.
Lifesaver?
The lifesaver.
Okay.
I don't know, whatever it is. I used to be a lifeguard too. I don't even remember. But anyway, they throw that out with a rope attached to it, and you just hold onto the rope and you just float on the surface. And the guide, because he's been there so many times, all the sharks are accustomed to him, so they'll like swim by him and they'll allow him to touch them as they go by. And these are just like white tip reef sharks. They're pretty mellow, okay. Pretty chill. They do have teeth though, so if they wanted to kind of like take a bite, they could take like a couple toes off. But yeah, we did that for a little bit, and then you get back in the water, then they chum them, keep them happy, and I'm sure they just do that over and over again until they grow this relationship with the sharks there.
Wow.
So there's that. Right now is like spawn season for leopard sharks in La Jolla. Mm-hmm. So I've been meaning to make my way up there.
I do have snorkel gear if you want to go snorkel.
I'd love to go snorkeling, yeah.
I don't have fins, but I have everything else.
Yeah, leopard sharks are very mellow. Mm-hmm. I feel like they don't have quite as large teeth or teeth at all. I feel like it's more like a sandpaper type gummy material they've got in their mouth, so it's much safer if you're not a big shark person. But you can go out there, and all the babies, there's like hundreds of little baby sharks just swimming around your feet, and that's pretty cool. It's like a nice way to kind of test the water if you're getting into the whole shark world thing. Eventually, though, I'd love to get out there. I heard, I haven't watched this year's Shark Week, but I've heard people are just like increasingly going out there and free diving with great white sharks.
Wow.
So that sounds totally insane to me. I'd be about that at some point.
Wow, that's like such an interesting path to go down. This Shark Boy.
Shark Boy, yeah. I guess like at least for whenever that happens, and you know, we'll see how long it goes. It seems, I mean, it's crazy. I guess throughout the world, like, is it 100 million sharks that humans kill? Humans kill 100 or 200 million sharks a year.
Is that like, are they like poaching them, or is that just like when they're fishing they accidentally kill them?
We need Jamie from Joe Rogan's podcast to be here and fact check us on all this. But yeah, I think we there's a lot of sharks, like hundreds of millions of sharks that die every year for shark fin soup. Oh. Okay. But one of the benefits of this whole pandemic has been just like the decreasing just action or activity with fishermen in the area. So all these like shark populations are coming back to life, and they're just repopulating, and they're coming back with greater numbers. So it's interesting to see how fast nature bounces back. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And damn, just like being that close and interacting with those like beasts so intimately is just like such a humbling experience. When I was in Thailand, my friends and I went to a tiger, quote unquote, sanctuary. I'm pretty sure they were breeding them in there. And you don't know what's really happening there, but I did go. But, you know,
Did you support a
Besides,
bad cause? No.
I don't know. I don't know. It was probably like
human
sketchy.
trafficking.
Tiger trafficking. No, again, like I don't know what the ethics were there, but besides that, it was just so crazy to just be touching a tiger.
Yeah.
Like,
tiger sharks are crazy.
I don't even know how, like, hundreds and hundreds of pounds. Like, it was a full grown tiger.
It was like 16 feet long.
It was like the size of the couch, dude. I mean, not as wide, but almost
like say
as
like
long.
you straighten that couch out right there.
Let me find something else. It was like,
good,
this
14 feet
this
long.
table and a half. Or
It's
maybe
much
like
smaller.
Yeah. I was
That's
looking
only
at
like
the
6
couch
feet,
and I was
maybe.
like, wait, it is not that big.
Yeah, it's interesting to feel their like their I don't know, is it their skin? I don't know what like they're just it's rough, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels odd.
And then it's so weird to like pet my cat. My cat looks like a little leopard or something. It's like spotted and striped. I don't know what's going on, but to just be like, wow, you descended from like that like huge predator, and now it's just like a small version.
A shark?
No, not a shark. A tiger. A shark.
Yeah, cats are wild. Cats are like they always kind of freak me out.
Yeah.
Because I mean they're like they're just you know like they're I love how independent they are, but they're just little killers. Mm-hmm. They're just like they love to just like stalk prey and lurk, and it really is just like a mini size of a large cat, like some type of African cat or some type of jungle cat. You just got like a small domestic version of that, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. Which makes sense, I guess, why the Egyptians were so enthralled by him.
It really is. Like, that's the reason I wanted to get a cat in the first place, because dogs, I would love to have a dog. But again, I need to like stop bringing all these commitments into my life. I'm not getting a dog anytime soon, but I would love to, just because they're such amazing companions. Yeah. And I'm just more of a dog person. But with cats, like, there's something just so mysterious about them. And I'm like, my cat's name is Kiba. I'm like, I just want you to be like my Zen master, like teach me, sensei, like. And like the fact that they are like so like zenned out but then so vicious simultaneously is like, I'm like, there's something to learn there. Yeah
When it's time to go, it's time to go. But most of the time it's just time to chill. If you can. If you have somebody who feeds you every day and gives you water and you don't have to go hunt for it.
That's how I aspire to be. I aspire to be like very chill, but when it's time to go, I'm on, you know?
You find yourself a human who can do all those other things for you. Yeah.
Damn. So do you want to like, what was your experience growing up? Like, you can definitely condense this a lot, but kind of like what led you up to this point? Like, what were some of the most pivotal moments in your life?
Tough question.
That like what shaped you? Like what events shaped you?
Where to begin here? Well, I was blessed and fortunate, and I'm extremely grateful to have been, I guess, born into a family, a really, loving and supportive family, that fed me from day one and kept doing that until I grew up. So that was huge. That was love. Shouts out to mom and dad. Shouts out to my aunts out there and my cousins for I'm actually an only child, so I grew up with my cousins who lived in the area, and I was able to kind of like get some of those experiences that I would have like missed out on. Because I feel like there's, as a kid, there's a ton of like, man, you learn, there's so many like social reps that you miss out on if you don't really have anybody like to fight with or play with, or like, you got to share with them, and you learn all these things. So just coming up with them was super cool. Shout out Kevin, shout out Kyle, Sima, Dachin, all you guys. So that was really great. My mom's a nurse, so she's always been like a caretaker. She's always been like that A-type person. Like, she's always busy. Like, she's always just doing something. She's always like working or running around, or has some type of home improvement projects going on, and loves to get handy and loves to get after it. And my dad, very much so, was the one who introduced me to sports. I guess I'm named after my grandfather, who
on
was
your dad's side.
On my dad's side, yeah.
Is that a Russian name?
It is a Russian name.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a traditionally
I was wondering.
like old school, old Russian name, Anatoly. So that was my grandfather's name, and he was a pro soccer player back in our hometown of Russia.
And what would that be? What town?
Oh, so that is Ellis, Kalmykia. So that is the Republic of Kalmykia. It is on the European side of Russia. And it is about the distance from where Maryland is to Florida, from Moscow to Ellis. So if you were to jump in a car, it would take between like 17 or 19 hours to get there.
Russia's
or like
pretty big.
It's pretty big.
If you guys haven't seen a map,
it's pretty big. Maps are kind of skewed, but it's still pretty big. Yeah. But yeah, like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour flight down, and it's out there in the steppe of Russia, which is a grassland. If y'all don't know what a steppe is, just like you've just got it's sort of flat, hilly, and you've got the wind just making all like just the grass dance along the landscape. It's actually. So yeah, that's my origin. I was from there. My parents immigrated here when I was very small.
Oh, so you were actually born there?
I was born there.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I moved here when I was 3 years old, and I've grown up in America. I very much see myself as an American. I do have a citizenship in both countries though. So last year was the first time I was able to go back and like hang out with my grandma and just like some fam in a long time. I suppose until you're 28 years old, you have to serve in the military over there, in the army, which I would have done. Just for the experience. It's only a year. They say it's kind of like a summer camp type of thing. They make you do a whole bunch of running and all that, military stuff. But my cousins went through that, and yeah, it's a whole different world over there. Totally different. But from where I was raised over here in America, I grew up in Montgomery County. North of Washington, D.C., Silver Spring, Maryland. So just a very diverse area. Grew up, with two parents who kept it together until I was an adult, and that was their sacrifice. So just seeing how they were able to kind of get after the things they did and sacrifice so much for me to have the opportunity to have, that's just something that like I strive for too. Like, without being too cheesy and being too corny out here, like I do want to, sort of give back in a way as soon as I can to them for doing all that, just very blessed with that and very blessed with just growing up in Moco and in a very diverse neighborhood. So, yeah, that's just pretty much it.
Damn. So your dad is from Russia. Did your parents meet there? Sorry, I just stumbled over.
Yeah, they did meet there. They met in med school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So your mom's from there as well? Wow.
Yeah,
awesome.
She's a little bit of a mix as I am with well, I guess I'm a mix because she is. So she has a little bit of the more like Slavic genealogy, and then also some more of that Kalmyk genealogy, and I guess Kalmyks, which is spelled Kalmyk, were like descendants of Genghis Khan, and then the Huns before them, and whoever else came before them. So like we've just been like these like nomadic steppe people. So I was just kind of like to say like I'm just doing them proud by living the van life thing I'm doing right now. So hopefully they're smiling down on all this right here. But
I'm sure.
But yeah, that's pretty much that. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a little different.
That's so cool. No, I love it. I love it. I was telling you before, I guess it's pretty much like my oldest family friends are from Moldova, and so my friend.
Oh, I played with a kid who played basketball for the national team there.
Really?
He was sick. He's like one of the best basketball players I ever played with. And he was only 17 years old. He was disgusting.
Wow. They go hard there.
Layup package, his court vision, his just like basketball IQ. I mean, for someone so young, like he just had it all going on. But it is a small little country, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, well, it was like part of the Soviet Union. So they speak Russian there. It's like bad. I'm like, oh yeah, they're like, would you say that they're still Russian or would you say that they're Moldovan?
They're Moldovan. No, they're their own people now. Yeah. And they've been so for the past 20 years or so. But yeah, they have like a little bit of influence. I mean, they in some of those countries they still learn. Depending on the country, of course, they still learn Russian. I was in Serbia for a couple of days last year, and some of them they still learn Russian throughout. And Serbia is like a very cool place, beautiful people there as well, really great food. For those of y'all who don't know, they had 17, was it Caesars? Roman emperors, not Caesars. There's only one Caesar. I don't know what I'm talking about. Caesar salad. They had 17 Roman emperors from Serbia, from that area.
Wow.
So,
I just feel
very
like
interesting
there's such a
gene pool.
stereotype of people from that area just being so hard.
Mm.
Like they're those people who find like, I mean, I feel like the maybe like intensity or dedication like infiltrates all areas of their life. Again, this is a stereotype. But that's just like what I've gathered from people that
Stereotypes
I've met
are
from this.
totally true.
Yeah,
Totally,
you know,
entirely
there's
truth.
there's exceptions. But yeah, so like they find like that one thing and they're like all into it. Or they find many things and they're all into those things.
They're very passionate people.
Yeah.
From the Serbs that I've met and come across. It's very funny. I mean, first of all, like they're very tall. The guys are really
very
tall.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
Oh, okay.
I should have said I was taller. But
I would have believed it. I don't know. I'm not measuring you.
if I was any taller, I'd be in the league. Y'all said it here first. But in the NBA, by the way. No, the Serbs, yeah, I mean, like they're very tall people for some reason. I don't know if it's something in their water or something. One of them said it was something about the meat that they eat. This is the homegrown meat that they eat out there. But they grow to be very tall. I've met some who are exceptional swimmers, like ridiculously fast swimmers.
Wow.
And then just met some who are just like insanely amazing just at like volleyball. So yeah, very interesting, very awesome people. Like they love to dance, they love to party, they love to work hard and
work hard, play hard.
Yeah, and it's just it's very cool. It's also I feel like when you come from like that part of the world, I mean you get these cold winters, you know, and that has to do something to you. I mean that kind of just throws you out of your comfort zone, and I feel like the more you do that, the stronger of a person you become. So with all those cold winters, you know, just kind of bundling up and trying to survive through all that, build some type of character through all those countries out there.
For sure. And I think like with anyone, maybe it doesn't necessarily make you like hard in the sense that you're closed off, but like it just makes you tough. It makes you able to like embrace life with more passion when you go through tough shit. Like whether that be like physically like a hard winter or like, you know, living like in
so much deeper appreciation just for having made it. Yeah.
For sure.
And that's like it's really sad the way I guess like it's funny the way in America, like so in other countries, like you know you go down to Mexico, you go to Russia, I mean like you're gonna have everybody in every part, like everybody in the family will live together. You're not gonna be discarding your parents off to some like retirement home. No, you're gonna put up with them. I mean you're gonna like, you know, maybe build like a little crib in the back for them, or maybe not, maybe you just have them in the house, but they're going to be around and you're going to take care of them just like they took care of you when you were small and when you were little. So but the thing is like, you know, about being old is you've just gone through so much. I mean you've gone through that suffering, you've paid your dues, and maybe you've lost like a bunch of friends and gone through so many hardships that I just feel like that's where all that wisdom for them comes from, and that's why like all that strength from them comes from. Just from having gone through all that. So it's almost like it's a shame to kind of do that to people and kind of just put them out there on their own. But yeah, I don't know. If it's a really good freaking retirement home, you know, and they really get it on in there, then, you know, maybe it's not the worst.
Who's to say? No, those are some tough situations, some tough choices. So I have another question. What is like the best advice that you've ever received? Or maybe it was just advice from yourself. Maybe someone said it to you. Maybe you read it somewhere.
Oh, man. I don't know. It's a really good one. There's been a lot, right?
Like words you live by, maybe?
Words I live by. I feel like words that I live by, and this comes from a background playing just like sports. And this is something that I've just like learned from my coaches, more specifically like Coach Harrison. You know, those are my football coaches just back in the day. Shout out guys, love y'all. And it always just came down to like just making that next play. Coach Pecor, gotta throw him in there. He's my baseball coach, and it just like when, you know, you play sports and you're going through the motions of the game and you know the different stages of it, and you're gonna mess up, you know. I mean, you can kind of break down a game as to like similar to life. And so like you're gonna make mistakes. Things are gonna happen that are out of your control, maybe on a certain play. But you just gotta look. You gotta look to that next one. Just make that next play. It's like, all right, you might have effed up here. You might have like not caught the ball. You might have been eating too much popcorn for the game. You know, you might just let it slip through your hands, and cornerback on the other team took it, housed it for 6. How you gonna respond? You know, so like, it's gonna get gritty. It's gonna get tough. But you just gotta keep on focusing on making that next play, and hopefully you make enough plays by the end of that game, and you win enough plays that ultimately you win the game. That's pretty much that. So make that next play, y'all.
Yeah. So how does
Short
winning
memory.
the game look like for you?
Winning the game.
Yeah.
For
so
me?
the game of life. Like how would you, or maybe you already have, but what would, so if you, like, what,
Not yet.
I can't speak. Like,
Yeah.
how would you be able to, like, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I've won the game?
Won the game.
Maybe it's not even like
Hopefully
an
I have-
ego thing. Maybe it's not something you've done. But yeah. What would that be like for you?
That's a good question. I just want to see. I want my like parents and my family to be proud, you know, and I want to give back to them. They put in a lot of investment into keeping this whole operation thing going, this project going. So I like to give them like a nice little ROI in
The whole
return.
project that is your
Person, me, and my life and everything here. So I like to just hustle hard enough. Money's not a huge thing for me. There's so many things I want to pursue. There's so many things I want to do. It's almost like it's so hard to uncover, right? But ultimately, I want them to live like a good, happy life and existence, and just and just, you know, have something to be proud of. Because I mean, like, for them, my dad had me when he was 25. My mom was 22. I'm 28 now, and thankfully, they're not pressuring me to have kids or anything like that. But they sacrificed a lot for having kids at such a young age. And that's just the way things are in Russia. I mean, when I went over there last year, everybody in like my company was around my age and already had a family going. And so like your entire perspective has changed. Whereas now you've got like this responsibility of a life to water. All right.
Yeah.
You got this little plant and this little sprout, and you got to make sure you keep on watering them every day. So yeah, thankfully they're not pressuring me on doing anything like that, but they want to see me succeed through the work that I'm doing now, and hopefully it can give back to them. Yeah, that'll be that. Personally, on a personal level, I'd really like to get into martial arts, just because it seems awesome.
What specifically? Do you have any, like, what I say, like, types, schools? Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, probably. Yeah, it seems like the one that has like the most strategy involved. It seems like a human chess game. So you just get to kind of roll around on the floor as far as it looks like. So it seems kind of appealing to me. Seems pretty chill. But also, it seems like a lifelong pursuit. Yeah. Well, I'd like to get into Muay Thai as well, though.
Muay Thai.
Muay Thai, yeah. Throw some bows out there. Throw some knees.
You know, break your shins. It's all good.
Yeah, roll the nerves out of your shins. Kick a couple banana trees along the way.
Oh my God. Yeah, you were the one telling me about that, right?
Was I?
Maybe it was you. Maybe not. I don't know how many Muay Thai conversations I've had. I don't think it's been that many. But yeah, like either you or someone else was telling me about, like how they destroy all the nerve endings in their shins.
They're either like, well, most of them start at a young age, right? So they get to destroying the nerves in their shins when they're young and small. But sometimes they'll roll them out, or they'll just keep kicking things until they just destroy all the nerves. And yeah, the shins are like, they're super sensitive, you know. So it's one of the first things that has to go. Like, you got to toughen them bad boys up if you want to get into it. I haven't done any of that. My shins are very vulnerable right now.
Mine are very vulnerable. The little bit of kickboxing I've done, like, I also just bruise very easily, but my shins were just looking distraught.
Yeah.
And like,
Chipped
it does
up.
really hurt. Like, even if you're just kicking a bag, like,
oh man, if you walk into the side of a little coffee table or something like that. Ooh, yeah.
No, for sure.
Yes. It's tough.
It gets wild.
Yeah. I guess like the initial reason I came to the West Coast was about almost 2 months ago. July 16th was I wanted to just see how much I could see in California for a month. And then I have a cousin in the Navy, shout out Anton. He's living in Hawaii, He's he's an officer over there, so he's doing his thing. And I was just hoping to hang out with him after California for a little bit as well, see Hawaii for a bit, and then bounce over to Thailand. And just kind of like, I don't know, hang out there for like 6 months or a year in Phuket, and then just join the gym there and just train and see what that would be like. And it didn't work out that way, but I'm sure we'll get there at some point.
Yeah.
But you've been to Thailand. How was that?
It was, well, honestly, I was going through like a very like cloudy period there. I had just finished my yoga training, which was like this beautiful, beautiful experience. I don't really have words for it. But after that, we actually had this closing ceremony, and our teacher said, we're just going to warn you for like the next month probably, or at least like next couple weeks, you all are going to be very, very drained. Like you're just going to have no energy. Like all you're going to want to do is like be in stillness and like just a lot of downtime. And I was like, well, fuck, I just planned this whole trip to Thailand. Like I need to be ready to go. And I just kind of thought, no, this isn't going to happen. Like I'm going to be totally fine. And ooh, that hit me like a brick. Like all I wanted to do was just like sit and like stare out into the jungle. And like this is while I was still in Bali. Okay. And then we went, and it wasn't like that all the time. Like I definitely had energetic moments as well, and it was still overall an incredible experience. But I can't wait to go back when I am not feeling so drained, so I can experience more. And I didn't spend a long time in every spot. I was there for like when I was in Thailand, I was probably in each spot that I hit like less than a week. So I would really love to go back there and spend more time in certain areas, and I probably wouldn't return to certain areas because I was hitting a lot more of the like tourist destinations, and I would love to get more out into the, I guess not really country, but the country,
see a little more like more where the locals hang out. Yeah, some of them like little hidden gems where they won't tell all the tourists about. Yeah, and try to keep those places. To themselves.
Like I want to actually experience Thailand, not like.
I've heard it's the land of 1,000 smiles, and the people there are incredible, right? Like just incredibly hospitable, and
not so much in Bangkok from my experience. It just seemed, I felt like when I was there, I'm like, there's just a dark, dark cloud over this city. Like,
it seems like there
was just not good vibes there.
It seems like a crazy party town type thing.
Yeah, and everyone just seemed so miserable. Like everyone there just seemed not happy. Like everyone was like super pressured, super rushed. Even more so than like when I've been in like, I don't know, like New York or something. Because not only is it like this huge bustling city, but it's like, like very, they don't have the infrastructure that we have here. So even though it's like very much functioning, like very much like a city, like the power lines that are going down the streets, there's like thousands of wires, like you can hear the electricity like buzzing. You're like, is this really safe? Like,
the thing, it's like once you step out of America or the US, you just see how hard everyone else has to grind, and all the craziness that they have to go through right on a daily basis. Like they if you're living there, you probably don't even hear those power lines going off every day. You probably don't even think about like them coming down on you or something. I'm sure they do every now and then, but yeah, they just like, it just shows you how much more we're able to put up with. Like as humans, I feel like we can really adapt. I mean, right? Like we're in the middle of this pandemic.
California's burning to the ground.
We were doing all right there for a little bit. Now it seems like people care less and less every day. But
I feel like people just numb out. Like it's overwhelming to an extent because, people will get fired up and passionate about things, but then it's like, okay, well, what can I really do? It seems like it's like more of an internal battle of like getting overwhelmed by the state of the world than it is us actually taking steps to do something. And it's not everyone's job to get involved in certain issues, but I've just been noticing everyone taking on the burden of the world without an avenue to
there's a lot of distraction going on too, right? I mean, it's an election year, so there's lots of like left and right going back and forth, and then I mean, we're just so plugged into global news that just gets sent right over to the palm of your hand every day. So there's tons of things just going on. It's almost like difficult to just stay focused on one. But I honestly thought and I wish we could have like handled the situation in America here a little better, but it's just kind of like the way it is, you know.
It is. What
Other
it
countries
is.
are better. Other countries are doing much better. They're getting back to business, and they were able to kind of ride it out together as a community. And here in America, I don't know what we're doing, guys. You guys just love to party too much.
It's true. People don't like to be told no.
Yeah, interesting. It's crazy. So when you were in Thailand, what other how long were you there for? And where did you go?
I was in Thailand maybe for, honestly, I like don't recall, but I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks.
Was it a meditative blur?
A meditative blur. I feel like, no, I was there for like 2 or 3 weeks. So I flew into Bangkok. I was there for a few days. Not the biggest fan, but such an experience. An experience. I would go back. It's just I wouldn't want to stay there for a very long time.
Yeah.
And then we went to Chiang Mai. I like Chiang Mai a lot more. I like that place. Chiang Mai was cool. And we took a van or a bus up into the mountains. It's a
little more north, right?
Yeah. Okay. And so we're like getting more into like the mountains and the jungle and stuff like that. So we took this bus up to this town called Pai, Pai. Okay. And that was my favorite place. It like felt, I think that it has turned a little touristy, but it still felt very true to like its roots. And maybe it wasn't even so much like the Thai culture, but it almost felt like it kind of created its own little culture there in Pai. It was very much like yoga, and there was also this huge circus theme. Like the hostel that I stayed at was called Circus, and there was just people out there every night spinning fire, like doing crazy stuff.
Gotcha.
So that was my favorite. Exactly. Like when I came to OB, I was like, am I in Pai? And then we ended the trip in Phuket.
Oh, okay. But the mountains are better than like the beach life in the water.
I personally enjoyed that more, but I'm sure I only got a small taste of Thailand. I'm sure there's so many beach towns that are better. I just know that Phuket, like when people go to Thailand and go to the beach, like they go to Phuket. I'm sure there's so many areas that are coastal that I would prefer. Because especially in so many areas of Southeast Asia, like you get the mountains right up to the water. So like you're in the jungle, in the mountains, and then also the water's like a quarter mile away. So I don't know.
Was that what it, like that's how Bali was? Bali similar to that? Actually, I don't even know much about Bali.
Yeah, so Bali isn't as mountainous as Thailand is, but there definitely are mountains. I think that more of their mountains are towards the middle of the island, at least from what I could experience. I am not a Bali expert. I don't know the geography that well.
They have monkeys over there in Bali?
They do.
They do. They have them in Thailand though as well, right?
They do. Yeah. But in Bali, it's just very jungly. It's, a tropical climate. So you had the beach, and then you had jungle, and then you had rice paddies, and then you had mountains. So everything was just like very lush and green. And even if you weren't in the mountains, you still felt like you were in nature. So I really appreciated that. It's been interesting being in San Diego, where there's not a ton of like foliage, or it's very low. Like all the besides like the palm trees, like everything is very low to the ground, so you get to see very far. That's true. Which is something I'm like, the sky just feels bigger here, and I'm like, no, it's just because things aren't obstructing my view.
Yeah, you can like catch like the horizon, or just like the hills out there in the distance, from like anywhere, which is super cool. But
I don't know. I want to live here a few years. I want to stay. I mean, who knows, dude? Like, I bop around so much. I don't really know. But I want to stay here a few years. And honestly, like how you were saying Hawaii, like I think Hawaii is my next move.
Hawaii?
Yeah.
It's very remote though, isn't it? Huh?
But I kind of want that. Yeah. Like, I want to live fast in the sense that like I'm busy, but I want to be busy doing the things that I love. And like the stillness, the fact that like there's this huge Pacific Ocean, and then there's just a little island chilling there. There's nothing else in over there. It just seems so crazy. And I don't know, again, maybe I only stay there for a few years, but I want to go live and experience that.
What would you do?
What would I do?
What would you do in Hawaii?
Hopefully I can be at a place where I can work remotely, and then I can.
Right on.
Yeah.
What type of like activities or hobbies do you engage in, I suppose?
Well,
There's a little bit of everything.
I do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. The wetsuit's hanging out there, right? So
my wetsuit has not been wet in a long time. But yeah, you could call it surfing.
Dry wetsuit, sad thing.
I know. I'm gonna get out there. I don't work as much this week. I'm gonna get out there, even if the waves are bad. I'm getting out there. I surf a little bit. I'm not very good. I will boogie board. Yeah. I'm a lot better at boogie boarding than I am at surfing. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, boogie boarding's dope. Boogie boarding's fun. But there's something about surfing though. It's just like it's just totally different.
I feel a lot cooler on a surfboard than I do on a boogie board. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I like skate a little bit. I just cruise around. I don't do anything crazy.
Kick push.
Yeah.
Shout out Lupe.
Snowboarding's my shit. Again, like I'm not anything crazy, but when it comes to board sports, that's definitely where I am doing the best. I can pretty much get down anything. What else? I love making art. That's one of like the first passions I found, or maybe like the first passion I found was art. Yoga.
Painting. Like painting?
Yeah, painting. I'll do like a lot of digital stuff too. When I'm freelancing, I'm doing like graphic design, some illustration, stuff like that.
All around.
I actually did I have that camera because I did some photography. Yeah. I was doing wedding photography a while ago. This was like when I was still in high school, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but now I want to like get more into it.
That's big money, guys. Big money right there.
Wedding photography. Yeah, it is.
Lots of pressure.
Yeah. And that's when I was like figuring out how to use a camera.
Oh my goodness.
Like I'm like in the manual setting like fuck, what am I doing?
Oh boy.
Especially when you're shooting indoor weddings, it just like looks so yellow and like so bad. I'm like, how do I make this look good? I don't want to edit every single picture. No, but there's just so many things to do, and I feel like I can't do all of them.
Guys, do your research before you book a photographer. For your wedding.
I wasn't doing it solo. I was like an apprentice. So I was the second. I was the second photographer. I wasn't doing it alone.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, thankfully, in the day and age we live in, you want to master a new skill or like kind of begin to chip away at it. You can just hop on YouTube and figure out white balance and
the information
shutter speeds, aperture, all that stuff. Yeah, so it's pretty dope. It's pretty cool. But you're an all-around artist.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I like anything creative. I love it. Like for me, like the three things that I love the most are one, just like connecting to people, like hearing their stories, conversations, all of that. Another one is just creativity. Like how can I create? How can I make things? Like whether that be like, like painting, photography, making this podcast, like organizing my closet, like literally anything. Creating new opportunities for myself, like any kind of creation. And then the third is like adrenaline experience, like getting out there. So that's like where the board sports come in, and that's where traveling comes in, and just like getting out in nature, getting out in the water, like new experiences. So that's where it's at for me.
Yeah,
that's what makes me feel alive. What makes you feel alive?
I'd like to riff off of all that. That's really dope. Oh wow, look at you. You have a little Dalai Lama quote right behind you.
I do. Should I read it?
I've got that little one on the tapestry. Yeah, sure.
All right, guys. A precious human life. Every day, think as you wake up. Today, I am fortunate to have woken up. I am alive. I have a precious human life. I'm not going to waste it. I'm going to use all my energies to develop myself, to expand my heart, to achieve enlightenment. Oh, wait, sorry, I messed this up. To expand my heart out to others, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. I am going to have kind thoughts towards others. I am not going to get angry or think badly about others as much as I can. I am going to benefit others as much as I can. Okay, I'm sorry. The way that the like typography is on here is like really
first language. It's not
really confusing to read. Yeah, guys, I was reading this.
All right, guys, so take a deep breath. Rewind that about 30 seconds or a minute. Play that again. Let it sink in. Tattoo it on your body. Remember that. I love the part where it says or think badly towards others as much as I can.
That's not what it says. It says think badly about others, and it says I'm going to benefit others as much as I can. The way that they arranged the text on this little card is confusing to read.
That is so funny. Yeah. I've seen him in person a few times.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, my so like I guess one of the things about growing up in Kalmykia, in Ellis, Kalmykia, or having roots to it, is we have the largest Buddhist temple in all of Europe. So like they even built him like a super awesome office space up there. And when I was there last in October, shout out Achir, you're the man. He just like volunteers and helps out at the Hurul. The Hurul is just the name for the temple, or it literally means temple in Kalmyk, which is a dying language, by the way. And we were just able to kind of get like special access. He was able to sneak us up to the top and it's like just get this awesome landscape of everything. But the Dalai Lama, I mean, he's getting up there in age right now. He's battling some of the health issues and things like that. But prior to that, he came to Washington, D.C. a few years ago, and he did the Kala Chakra, which is like, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, it's like 7 days. I think it's 9 days. It's like 9 days of lecture and like meditation and practice. And so he was down there at the Verizon Center, now named the Capital One Arena. And yeah, like my family just kind of like, we just jump around. I've got family that's like a New Jersey family they're very like into the spirituality and Buddhism and all that. And so they're part Kalmyk and part Tibetan. So there's like anything to do with Tibet or the Dalai Lama, like, you know, we're there. We're trying to support and represent. So yeah, like we've seen him in Philly, and there's the temple there and a convention center that he's been to there. And somewhere out there on the interwebs, there has to be like a picture floating around with like my family or our whole family with the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, like right there in the middle.
Wow.
It'd be dope if we ever found that one. But
how old were you?
I think for that one, I was like, I don't know, like 14-ish.
Did you feel like a kind of presence, or you were like, oh, this guy?
Oh, no, I definitely felt like a presence. I mean, it was a very like hyped up thing within our family too. I mean, like everyone was very excited. And I feel like at 14, you should be realizing like, you know, like I guess when something important is like going on, obviously like just, yeah, like it was very cool. It was very humbling. He's a very funny guy. He's got a great sense of humor. His English is not the best, but it's still understandable. And he goes everywhere with his translator. So, but most of the time, like, you know, when he cracks a joke or something like that, it's all him. And he'll come out there and say it in English and get the whole crowd going. He's got a great stage presence. Wow. I'm gonna give him that. So yeah, hopefully he does well. It's kind of funny. I think he mentioned, and this might be like a political move or political statement against the oppression coming from China and China's government, but he said that they might put the whole reincarnation of the Dalai Lama thing on pause for a little while. And I wasn't sure if this was because people weren't like like people aren't doing the best they can, so it's almost like we don't deserve like a reincarnation of His Holiness, you know? And so he was just saying like maybe he was either trying to scare us into becoming better people, right? So that we may have like another spiritual leader like himself to come through. Or it may be a move so that China won't try to go after and try to capture the next Dalai Lama comes up. Because
that's what happened originally.
Oh, it's happened to many other Rinpoches. And a Rinpoche is another like, it's another position, right? I mean, these are like high level monks, and they also experience reincarnation. And there's actually one that's like very close to my family that we know. He lives in Seattle. He's awesome, but he just like that. Apparently, they also claim to have had many other lives, and there's a series of tests that they have to go through to prove that, whether it's like locating hidden items from their previous life, and other things that are like sentimental to them in their previous life, or even just like knowing certain situations or people from previous life too. And I mean, this is something that like a little 5, 6, 7-year-old kid would have to prove. So there's got to be something to it. I don't know.
I saw that with, I don't know if it was the current Dalai Lama or the one prior. It's like their like childhood toy. And they're like given a bunch of toys, and it's like whatever one they pick.
Yeah, different items and objects.
Proves that was him.
Yeah, like sometimes they're hidden or sometimes they're presented to him, and he has to select which one is his. And Very interesting. I don't know how that all plays out. We're gonna need to get Duncan Trussell on the podcast. Duncan, if you could please. He's a comedian.
Does he know about this stuff?
He gets like, he's awesome. He gets like, he studies Buddhism very much so. And
I loved. Have you seen Midnight Gospel? I'm not a huge like TV person, but that might be my favorite show.
Yeah, I've been slacking on TV.
Good, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god! But it's like the way it's set up is like a podcast.
Okay.
So, but it's animated and it's just so fun to watch.
Yeah.
And just so fun to listen to. That's like how I feel doing this. Like I told my friend, I'm just like, I'm just starting my space cast. Like that's what he does. He's like just this little guy who lives. He like left Earth to go live on this little planet, and he just has a space cast. So he just travels to these different worlds and interviews different people and puts them up on a space cast.
Man.
And that's the show.
That's too funny.
And it's so good.
Space cast.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, I mean he's an awesome, like, interesting person. He's just like, there's a lot to him. Pretty cool. I gotta check out that show.
Yeah, you should. No, that's so interesting about the reincarnation aspect. That reminds me of because so would you say that your roots religiously are primarily Buddhist? Yeah. And so my roots are primarily Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Old Testament, God was with them the whole time. And again, this wasn't a person, but people just felt very connected to God. They just felt like they had an open line of communication with God. And then God left. And there was this period where people were not in communication. Only certain prophets or like certain chosen people were able to communicate with God, whatever that means. And then Jesus came, who, in my opinion, was just someone who had like fully realized, just like this enlightened guy, not necessarily like the son of God, but in the same way that we're all sons of God, he was just fully realized, a fully realized human. And he was able to allow God to kind of like
communicate through him.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was a vehicle for like God. And and then he died, and then there's this second coming that's supposed to happen, and perhaps that those 2,000 years ago when he left, and we're in kind of like this maybe like dark age in a sense where people are very spiritually disconnected. And at least in the West, I don't know how the East is dealing with it. They always seem more connected in my experience of speaking with people there and living there, and also like just the ideals that they uphold primarily. But I wonder if like this pause on the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama is a similar lesson. I don't know, like you were saying, like so that we actually care more and we actually develop a like a level of urgency or a seriousness maybe. But like everyone like stop
more
fucking
compassion
around, like
hey guys, it's not all about the money. I mean, get enough for what you need, but like I guess there might just be like this little too much selfishness and greed going on. So
and even if like a lot of people are super selfish and greedy and they don't recognize it as that.
Yes. Or maybe even they do and they just don't care and they just keep going after it and keep on just hoarding. And
because I think we're really conditioned to be selfish.
Ruining, I guess, like the, Wait, I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, I said I feel like at least in Western society, we're super conditioned to be selfish and be greedy. It's all about me. Like, how can I like best support myself and get things, and like this consumer like society that we live in.
It's odd. I mean, at the same time, like, yes, you got to take care of yourself.
Everything's
you're
a balance.
Trying to survive, but you got to have that balance, right? So like you can't take care of other people until like you take care of yourself. Like you can't love others until you learn to love yourself, right? So like there's that whole thing going on that's very true. But some people just kind of blow it out of proportion. They just keep going too hard with their own perspective. And they never like they never put themselves in others' shoes or even try to or even care to. So there seems to be like a lot of that going on, and definitely a lot more in this country than other countries for whatever reason. But at the same time, it's harder to make a living in other countries. So those people have to be a little more like I don't know, it's humbling at the same time. So maybe there's a little bit of that in it too, but they realize that they can't just do it all on their own.
Yeah.
And they have to like work together.
And I think that being physically lacking, like not having food, not having shelter, that literally forces a sense of community and connection between people.
Yeah.
Because you have no choice but to rely on others. Like, oh, you have chickens and I have a cow. Like, I'll give you some eggs, you
Milk.
give me some beef. Like, you know, and otherwise people are just like, well, I have chickens and cows and I have the whole damn farm and it's all mine. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
And you have nothing. Ha ha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Watch me sell all this stuff. Watch
Yeah.
you just sit there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough thing.
I don't have an answer.
I don't know. You just got to keep working hard. Keep working hard. Keep getting after it. Don't be so darn selfish. Don't be so greedy. Right? Like, those are all just basic rules to it. I don't know. Don't be lazy. Don't be too lazy. Don't be too greedy. There, we start there, I guess.
And those are all great principles to uphold. But there's something, like, those are things that are just going to naturally come into alignment as you begin to listen to yourself and listen to life more, instead of always seeing through things are this way. Again, seeing with those blinders on, having tunnel vision. And as you begin to expand your experience, expand your awareness by having compassion for yourself, having compassion for other people, naturally as a consequence of you becoming a more loving person, you're just naturally going to become less selfish, naturally going to become less lazy. So it's not like you need to target these certain, like, quote unquote negative character traits that you may have, but they're just naturally going to come into alignment as you like come into the moment of what you're experiencing. And again, like, stop trying to chase after whatever it is you're trying to chase after.
There's so much to it, right? Like, you got to try to suppress your ego as much as you can, but at the same time, it can be useful, right, in certain situations, and you got to know your own value, but you can't ask for like some ridiculous, number or price for whatever that is. And
seems very delicate, that balancing
that
point.
Balance, yeah.
Because you can't go in either direction. You can't completely suppress your ego, but you can't be fully in your ego. It's that middle point. And that's something that's talked about a lot in religion, is like walking that center line.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
Again, it's like
it's hard to be a human.
Yeah, it is.
But it's easier than being any other type of creature on this planet, most likely.
I guess.
Unless you're a sloth. You're just chilling. You take all day to climb the tree, get to the other side of the branch.
Growing mold
Not
on
too
your
bad.
body.
You don't need to take a shower. You don't got to worry about it. Food probably like just falls into your mouth every now and then.
You just eat leaves.
It's pretty chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I posted a quote the other day that it was this is not verbatim, but it was just, everyone is running around in a big hurry as if there was something to do with your human life rather than just live it. And that's something that I always come back to. Those are some words that I live by. It's just like, the purpose of life is just to live it and live it with love.
Live it with love.
Yeah. And
that's
if you're doing
huge.
that, that's literally the only thing you need to worry about. Because, we talk, don't be selfish, don't be too greedy, this delicate balance. Like, that seems so overwhelming. But really, the only thing you need to ask yourself when you're making choices and when you're living is like, am I doing this with love?
Yeah.
And you can just feel like, yes, then you're like, okay, then I'm good.
Yeah.
And if you're not, then you're like, okay, let me refine so that I am.
Yeah, like, you're not trying to like just be disingenuous with it. Like, if you're going at it with like, literally, you're just going at it just, I love the idea of like giving a gift, right, without expecting anything in return, right? Like, just like, this is, in a way, I guess, like, if I could just talk about like why I came out here, like, that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to come out here and wanted to hook people up with sick pictures of them like doing whatever their passion is along the shore, and I would just give them my card, and as soon as they would email me, I would just send it to them, right? Like, it's just free. And there's nothing you need to, there's nothing you need, like, if you don't mind me taking a photo of you, which, guys, as a photographer, you got to ask. Every now and then you got to ask. You just, like, That's just it. Just that. At the same time, sure, you can look at it like, oh yeah, but you can use it for your portfolio and it'll help you out. And like, yeah, that's kind of true too. But like, if you truly believe that you just want to like hook these people up and you want to capture these people like doing real like whatever awesome things they're engaging in, and do it for that, then like that was like the motivation for me to do it. I soon realized that it wasn't like financially the most stable thing. So we've got to expand our business model a bit, but like I still like to do that just like in my spare time.
And everything comes back around, you know.
And I get to use it for my portfolio too.
That's
so
true.
That.
That's true. Well, I think we should wrap it up pretty soon. I also I have to pee. But is there anything else you want to like end with? Like anything you want to leave the people with? Anything you want to plug?
Find me on Instagram, Anatoly, Anatoly, the internet.
Like versus the
internet. Yeah, it's pretty silly.
I'll leave it in the show notes, guys.
That sounds good. It's bound to change at some point as soon as I can figure out a better name. Yeah, I guess I'm starting a YouTube. It'll be a little bit more of like documenting, vlogging, just like living in the minivan life, a little bit about the work I'm doing right now, and then ultimately, I've always wanted to work for like National Geographic. So
I have a friend that used to work for Nat Geo.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, you guys can talk.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's very hard to like if you want to become like if you want to like work for them, you have to do like 10 years of like journalism and get into it. Wow. You can also just be a contributor as well. So that's on the horizon hopefully, but the YouTube will be like our own version of that. So that's coming soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully we can get a little more into like natural wildlife and marine conservation and just and see where that goes. Yeah.
I love that. I can't wait to see how this all comes to fruition. I can't wait to watch the vlogs.
Yeah, I hope it works out. Yeah.
Awesome.
I know, just got to sit down and edit them.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I've been living at Panera Bread. They know me so well there right now. They know everything I like already.
I love that. Well, I'll just leave you guys, you listeners out there, with a few closing things. As always, you can find This Human Thing on Instagram at This Human Thing, Facebook at This Human Thing. You can see the show page at kellis.co/podcast. You can leave a review and a rating on the podcast. I'll send you a sticker. If you like send me a DM and you say, hey, I left a review, I'll mail you a sticker and a note, you know. Also, Toly, here's some stickers for you.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, of course. I think
I'm throwing this right on my my little Toly on the top.
Really?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
This is dope.
All right. Dude, thank you so much for coming on today.
I put this thing on Momo. Momo's the name of the minivan, by the way.
Really? I love that. Like from Avatar?
From a little bit from Avatar, but also like in like from I guess like my heritage and tradition of Momo's a dumpling. Oh. It's a big dumpling. And Momo, the minivan is white.
Oh, that's true.
It resembles a dumpling.
Like just an oddly shaped one.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, no, I'm really glad that you so last minute decided to come on the podcast. My life has been like a little bit crazy right now, but I feel like it's settling down, which is nice.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Yeah. Well, you can come back on anytime. I'm excited to shoot with you sometime soon. Or maybe later. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, guys. But for all of you out there living your human life, how's it going? Let me know. Send me in your feedback. Send me in your suggestions for the show. I would love to answer your questions. I do have a list of questions that people have sent in that I haven't got to, but I will get to them, guys. Maybe I'll honestly do like a solo episode where I answer some questions because I can't have a guest on every week.
No, live stream.
I'd love to, but it's just not happening. I hope you guys get a little silence in your day. I hope you get some movement in your day. And yeah, whatever you guys are doing out there, do it with love. Keep doing your thing. Peace in, peace out. And that's it. That's the cheddar.
That was sick. Oh man.
It feels so good to take the headphones off.
Oh wow, I actually like just live it in the headphones.
You like living in them?
Just live like, yeah.
Alright, we gotta take a couple,
Woo! Here, let me take a picture of you with your little setup here.
Okay.
You just You like to take the time to set it all up the way you do?
It's alright. I just got it like this. Oh shit.
Just how we do it now. That's what I was saying. That's it. Yeah.
Helps to look through every now and then.
Is that the way?
Yeah.
Stop it. Oh, here, maybe we should flip this little no live thing back over. Can we stop this, guys? Ooh, an hour and 45 minutes. Not
Please.
bad.
Oh wait, no, we gotta take like a thumbnail, so we'll get
Oh,
some. Here, you
alright.
can even go like that. Wait, I want to prop now. What can I hold? I'll hold this.
Yeah, let's do it. Now.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool. Not bad. Look at your setup out here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's on.
Okay, well let's like get one where we make sure we're both smiling.
Okay. So bad at taking pictures.
That's good. Okay. Now you can end it.